Hi guys, Matt Simmons here from Rochester Health Club. Today I'm going to take you through a series of different exercises and stretches to help strengthen and stretch out the legs and the body for running. Okay, so a lot of people over the last few weeks and months have taken up running and long distance walking. You may find that you're starting to get really tight now, especially in the hamstrings. You might get a little bit lower back discomfort. That generally comes from tightness in the glutes and the hips and the hamstrings as well, and the inner thighs. Now, if we can tackle those, then you'll find that your running and your walking will become a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable, and then over time you'll be able to develop these stretches and be able to run and do a lot more further distances. Now, these stretches all will be held for around 15 seconds. If you want to develop the stretch further, then you can hold it for up to 30 seconds, and that will help increase flexibility. The more frequently you do it, the more flexibility you'll be able to become. Now, if you're just running 5K or even walking 5K, you may not need to do this every single day. It all depends on how much you run and how much you walk. If you're walking every single day, you are going to find tightness in areas that you're not normally tight in. If you're sat down for long periods of time, then you become stiff if you haven't walked for a long time. So it's a good balance, but you've got to do what's right for you. It is a little bit hard to distinguish what is good for you, but all I would say is that if you're looking to run or walk further than 5K, so 5K upwards, you want to be looking at doing these daily, okay? If you're looking at doing a half marathon, so 13 and a bit miles, or the marathon, 26 miles, then you're looking to do this not just daily, but also as a part of a day-by-day routine. So you can do this early in the morning or late in the evening, but try to specify around your running as well. You want the muscles to be generally warm. I've been moving and very active all morning, so I know that I'm pliable for this. If you are really cold, then you might want to just do a little warm up, little walk around, or some of the warm ups previously done in the other workouts. Now, the basic stretches, most of us know, okay? We do things like this, and we grab your leg, you may go round and touch your toes and stuff like that. Now, they are the fundamentals. You want to do those as part of the stretch routine, but we want to take it that little bit further. So for instance, if you are doing the quad stretch, so the stretch for this muscle here, we take the foot to the bum here. Now you need to make sure that the hip is in a line, so your knees are generally together or very slightly apart there. Now you may not be able to see this, but you don't want to be able to do this, nor that. Okay, so you may find it easier to use a pole, using a wooden stick or a broomstick, or just holding onto a wall. If you're holding onto a wall, don't lean on the wall, so you don't want your torso to be bent over. So keep nice and tall, knees relatively together, pull your knee back slightly, the other toe facing forward. Now, nice and tall, draw the belly in and then breathe. Although the stomach is in tight, you don't want to be holding your breath, okay? Slowly in and slowly out. Another 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretch now and go onto the other side. So again, grab the leg. If you can't do this, so some might not be able to get the knee right to the bottom, or if you have any problems with your knees, you may find it very difficult or even painful. If you find it painful, do not do it, okay? Look at more stretching and rolling techniques that you can do on the quad instead. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice and basic, okay? Like I say, that is the traditional quad stretch there. Now, we're going to do some more quad stretching when we're actually on the floor, but for now, we're going to continue while we're standing to do the to do the standing stretches. So now let's look at the different types of hamstring stretch and what you're doing in the back of the leg. So here, if I go up onto my toe and lean forward, so in this forward lunge position, you're actually doing the hip flexor at the front, okay? So you're getting around the hip bone, down into the front, so the top of the quad there. So the heel is off the floor and you're leaning forward like so. And again, we hold that. Now, because I'm working on my left leg here, stretching here, I'm going to continue down. So now what we're going to do, you drop the heel, you continue that lean forward, keeping nice and taut, and you're now getting a stretch down into the hamstring at the top of the calf. So you hold it here, another 15 seconds. If you want to increase the pressure, you can push your hands down here. Make sure you're not leaning too far forwards. Okay, so at the moment it's just a nice light stretch. Okay, now with the heel down, you're dropping that back knee. Now what you're doing here is going from the main part of the calf down into the soleus, which is the lower part of your calf stretch there, into your tendons that lead into your ankle. So if you're getting any tight calf pain or any pain in the feet or ankles, this is a good one. So again, let's just do that again. So from here, you lean forward, you stretch the hip, and the heel comes off the floor. Now I'm just leaning back slightly to get the hip flexor stretched there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now drop the heel. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but you just drop that back heel down on the floor now. You continue that lean forward. Slight stretch in the hip flexor, but if you lean forward a bit, you find that the hamstring stretches there. Let's stretch this like that. More. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keep the heel down, bend that knee. Now nice and tall, stomach in tight, shoulders are back. Breathe. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and have a little shake off. So the blood there is obviously flowing around, but you want to make sure it's all loosened up. Now we move over onto the other side, so let's go here. Heel off at the back, leaning forward, and then just a slight lean back of your shoulders, hip flexor stretching, 15 seconds. Relax your shoulders, breathe again, you can have your hands down the back there. And now drop the back heel, so now the hamstring is now stretched, so I can lean forward slightly. Hamstring's now kicked in, calf is now kicking in as well. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the heel down. And now straight away, again, there's a slight difference on this side. So each person has a different imbalance in some places. Mine is my right ankle, so it's a little bit tighter, so I can feel that stretch a lot more on this ankle than I do the other. So that heel is down at the back. Another 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, so that's really getting those back of the legs stretched out. Now we haven't done all the legs yet. There's still so many different muscles to actually attend. So let's loosen up the hips now. So we want to make sure the hips are nice and free. So you just take the knee up and around. As part of a warm up as your routine, I always start with this just to get the heels then. You could even do feet to bum. Just loosen up, shake off. Try to not over shake and dislocate the actual joints themselves. You shouldn't hear popping and clicking. It's just to loosen up the tendons and the ligaments. Okay, so now here, so we're going to go legs wide. Okay, if I do this one, you may feel a little bit tight in your hips. Now here, I'm doing a straight leg, so my knees aren't bent. Straight legs up, bum over, and you go down as far as you feel you can. And then if you feel comfortable, you can go take your hands out wider. Now, if you had a block, I would recommend holding a block or something here. You can go over, but you'll see naturally you want to curve over. So you want to keep that nice torso. You're almost trying to push your bum up to the sky. So just there, and you can hold your hands there, filling it all the way up the back of the legs into parts of your glute at the top there. Another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back up. Good. Slight inner thigh stretch, but not the main muscle. We're looking at the back of the legs there. Now here. Now what we're going to look at is the IT band. So we're going to cross those legs over. Now when you go down here, you want to focus on one side. So your foot that goes over the front is actually not the one you're stretching. It's the actual back of the leg on the other leg. You go back, you'll feel it down in the calf, but you're actually also stretching, which is called the IT band, that leads from here and down towards the knee. By stretching this out, you'll also notice I'm pushing my hips slightly to the left, go down. Again, if you've got more flexibility, you might find yourself going right down, and that's absolutely okay. If you're not feeling these stretches, it could be your flexibility is far greater than mine, or it's more the fact that you need different techniques, which we could look at rolling and stuff like that. Okay, change over leg, cross, down, and stretch. Push it to the side slightly. Again, I can feel that in the side of the hip, now going down, but it's also getting the glute into the calf as well. So it's always a multiple stretch that you're doing. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, another shake off there. Excellent. So now you're all a little bit loose. You can always do some hip wiggles, just to loosen up the hip a little bit. Now there are loads of different other stretches. We can go over here. So again, getting really focused on that calf, and then you can do a torso stretch, working on the chest. Breathe. Front knees forwards. This hand goes up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we'll go to the other side. So leg forward, wide leg, down, and then go up. I'm just supporting myself there as well because I'm also looking at the camera. If you want to get nice and tall, you can lean down further. Now, why stretch out the chest and the torso and the obliques, the side of the abs there? Because when you're running and doing long distance walking, you're not just using your legs. You're breathing. You can breathe very heavily at some stages. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that being said, obviously you need to stretch out the chest. The chest can come tight. A lot of runners, they tend to arch over slightly. So when their head's down, they're focused, they're getting a slight arch. So always stretch out your chest as well. So even as simple as taking your palms out, taking a deep breath in, breathe out on the way in. So breathe in, breathe out, and repeat that several times, and you just get a nice little stretch across the chest. So, okay, so there's a few standing exercises. Let's move down onto the actual floor. Now this one's called a sprinter stretch. So you go down onto your knee, the back foot is down and flat here. And then here, rather than leaning forward, okay, which you can do, which does the soleus down, you're actually gonna go down into like a sprint stance with your hip. So you're arched over, you're pushing your bum down and leaning back slightly with your hands, palms down here. So my fingertips are just on the floor. Now my foot, the top part of my foot is flat up against the floor, as flat as you can go. And here you're stretching and pushing in the hip. You're working and stretching the calf into your hamstring. Change leg. So I always have to rearrange, make sure I'm in the right position. If it doesn't feel right, if you feel uncomfortable and you're not quite feeling it where you should, just have a little wiggle around. Reset yourself, make sure your feet are in the right position, and go from there. Good. Okay. Now we stretch out a bit more of the hip flexors. So 2 different types. You can go here, push your hips forward and hands down. Okay. You could start at the bottom as well. That's the same stretch there. Or if you wanted more quad, you can grab hold of the foot and lean back at the same time. Now we're doing this, you are getting a really good quad stretch, hip flexor stretch all at the same time. It can be very difficult. So if you wanted to use a towel or a band to give that foot a little lift, that will help there, stretch there. Change leg. If you haven't got time to do all of these stretches, by the way, as well, focus on the main areas that you're finding yourself tightening, okay? If you're not too sure, make sure 15 seconds, go through the video and do all the exercises when you can, and then you will realize very quickly which ones you're most tight on. Okay, and down. You can continue that stretch. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll just show you. You can always do that stretch here, laying down, grab the foot, and pull back here. But again, don't overarch. It can be a little bit twisted on the back, so be very careful of that. And you hold it there, holding the quad. Okay, so that's them once. Now we're gonna do a little bit more of a glute stretch. Okay, so I like a good old favorite where I'm going over here, pulling the knee away. I get a little bit of glute, a little bit of twist in the core and down in the IT band. So it's here. It's a really nice one, especially if you're doing long distance running. It can really help out a lot of different ailments. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, in addition to that, I would bring this knee up. Now it's hooked over, and you can either grab this leg and bring it in. Again, glute and hamstring, or I sometimes just lift up the leg. So I just pull that leg towards me and hold. Three, 2, 1. Okay, stretch the leg, good. Nice and blood flow. Then cross over, let's change over leg. That knee comes across, this hand goes out. Excuse me, not looking at the camera. So over there. Notice when you breathe, your hand normally comes off the floor. Just relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now bring this leg in. And in here. Again, another area where I get really tight is the inner thigh slightly going into the groin and into the glute as well. So this does help that slightly. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Leg out. Good. Okay, and then feet together. Drop the knees. Nice and tall. Now, these stretches as well, let me just angle myself slightly so I'm talking to you. These stretches aren't just based on flexibility and stretching out. Stretching can help strengthen the tendons, the ligaments, and all the muscles to help you become a better runner and a better walker, and they stop a lot of different ailments. So anybody that comes to me with any problems with their knees or their ankles, the first thing I do is check their flexibility and then what muscles are working and not working. A lot of people have taken up long distance walking and think it's only walking, it's absolutely fine. It is fine, it's brilliant, and for the majority of you, you won't have any problems whatsoever. However, there are always going to be those few that get slight back pain, knee problems, whether it be on the outer side or the inner side, and then the ankle. Okay, so where it gets tight at the bottom of the calf, it pulls at the ankle. So you might think to yourself that your feet are really hurting and you've got loads of problems with your actual foot or the ankle. In fact, it's probably coming from the calf. Now, that's just a broader, wider range of guesses. However, but at the same time, it normally is that type of thing. So do check these things. If there's any problems, do contact us at Rochester Health Club and I can help you further with that. So there you go. There are the main stretches that I'm going to help you with today. Go through each one as you go and just stretch out for around 15 seconds. Like I said, you can use bands, blocks if you need to use blocks if you're overstretching there. Any questions, please just comment and let us know what we can do to help. But thank you very much for joining me today. Have a great time.